A warm welcome to you. This is Nationwide. I am Ruth Aguele. Welcome. The federal government has continued to create platforms for access to finance and markets for micro, small and medium enterprises in the country. Well, the latest is the planned establishment of an MSME's microfinance bank and the development of agro-processing zones across the country. Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, Mariam Katagum, disclosed this at the 2021 Commerce and Industry Correspondents Association of Nigeria Annual Conference in Abuja. Benny Adams reports.
If you go to the market in the morning, in the evening, the price has changed.
And I will be happy if the government will help to give me the loans.
Mariam Katagum says this is about to change as the federal government under the Economic Sustainability Plan has continued to create platforms for access to finance to boost production, increase the value and volume of trade, and enhance the business environment with a view to attracting investment. She is also quick to add that the implementation of the 75 billion naira survival fund is on, with 4 out of the 5 tracks already concluded.
So far, approximately 58 billion has been disbursed directly to the above beneficiaries.
Also in the offing is the planned establishment of an MSME's microfinance bank and establishment of agro-processing zones across the country.
In that respect, under the 2021 and 2022 budget, which we're looking forward to, my ministry will roll out the development of these agro-processing zones in each of the geopolitical zones under the first phase of the intervention.
Speaking on the role of Nigeria's MSMEs, export commodities, trade and investment in stabilizing the post-COVID-19 economy, stakeholders in the economy are optimistic that the nation's recovery process is gaining traction, leading to Nigeria's automobile industry exporting vehicles to other African countries. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
A look at Agric. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture is set to implement 4 new policies towards boosting the country's food security. The policies, as unveiled by the Minister of Agriculture, Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar, is geared towards actualizing food security within 2 years. The policies include the National Agricultural Technology and Innovation, which is expected to be effective between 2021 to 2025, the National Policy on Agricultural Extension, and the Policy Implementation Strategy. The ministry will partner with the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative to ensure adequate domestic production and marketing of fertilizer at affordable price to farmers.
The ATA was built on the principle that agriculture is a serious business. Actually, eating also is a serious business and should be supported. It focused on making Nigeria's agriculture more productive, efficient and effective, creating jobs, generating foreign exchange and reduce food importation, while the APP was designed to address 2 main challenges: the inability to meet domestic food requirements and an inability to export at levels required for market success.
All right, let's turn to health. One critical aspect of it, I'm talking about menopause. Today is actually World Menopause Day, which was introduced in 1984 by the World Health Organization to encourage women to feel comfortable while talking about this natural phenomenon, a natural and biological process which begins when the menstrual cycle finishes, usually after a woman has gone 12 months without a menstrual period. It is not a health problem, and some women experience it as a time of liberation. However, hormonal changes and other factors involved can cause discomfort. Hence, World Menopause Day is held worldwide every year on the 18th of October to raise awareness for women who face health issues and support options available for improving health and well-being when approaching, during and beyond the period. The day also gives people who are experiencing any form of discomfort during this time a chance to speak openly about their experiences while raising awareness. And the theme this year is bone health. All right, let's expand the discourse. We have a guest already seated in the studio, Dr. Amina Isa. She's a clinical fellow in reproductive health. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
All right, now, when we're talking reproductive health, most women don't, feel comfortable talking about it generally, and especially when we're looking at menopause. Yes. What would you tell us about menopause? What should we know, rather, about menopause?
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, as World Menopause Day is usually held on the 18th of October every year, it is to raise awareness about menopause, because a lot of women, especially in Africa, we have less low education and less awareness about menopause. When they even start having these changes in their lives, they think it's one or two other things, but not knowing that it's actually menopausal changes. Menopause is when there is a cease to a menstrual period as a result of reduction in the ovarian oocytes due to aging. It's a natural phenomenon, as you have rightly said earlier. The average age of menopause is 51 years.
That's when it starts.
That's when it's the average age of menopause.
Okay.
Though, however, it used to range from 45 to 55 years, but now with the recent researches says that menopause now can now range from 40 years to 55 years. Menopause is cessation of menstrual cycle for complete 12 consecutive months. It is typically a retrospective, diagnosis. But however, there are symptoms that comes with it.
I was going to ask you that. What are the changes?
Okay, there is what we call perimenopausal symptoms, menopausal symptoms, or postmenopausal symptoms. The perimenopausal symptoms are symptoms that women that is to experience actual menopause in the next 5 to 7 years, meaning it can start taking turns on you 5 to 7 years before the actual menopause.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms include, we divide them into vasomotor symptoms, which is the commonest symptoms. Then we have
Can you break that down? Because you're using medical language.
Yes, vasomotor symptoms include hot flushes, internal heats. Okay. Women start experiencing internal heat. They are unable to sleep at night because of that heat. They sweat a lot, and they are not able to sleep because of this internal heat. And most of the time they attribute it to malaria. It isn't malaria. Okay, then other symptoms include mood swing, temper tantrums, emotional outburst. They can also experience what we call vaginal atrophy, that is changes as a result of reduction in the female hormone called estrogen. So as such, there is what we call thinning or vaginal atrophy, where the woman comes in and start complaining to the doctors that, okay, they have discomfort down there, or when they call for sneeze, they feel they have leaked urine, through their pants, or when they're climbing the staircase, or when they're doing, other activities. Otherwise, discomfort or pain during intercourse. And of course, Some women also experience bone changes like...
which is actually the theme for this year, bone health.
Yes.
But what are the health risks? And you want to talk to us about the bone health?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Like I said, other symptoms include bone symptoms. It is not everybody should know that it's not every woman attaining menopause that experiences all these symptoms.
Okay.
It depends on you. It depends on your body. Some women just experience the hot flushes I just talked about because it's the most common symptoms. Then while others experience the local symptoms, which we call the vaginal symptoms, and the bone symptoms. The bone symptoms, for instance, they come and complain to you about knee pain, about bone pain, as if they're feeling cold inside their bones, or when they miss their step, they feel intense pain. It is as a result of decrease in what we call bone mineral density. Okay. Because the estrogen, that is the female hormone, contributes a lot in the bone development and the strength of the bone. So as the estrogen level, that is the female hormone, is being reduced, of course the bone is now prone to what we call osteoporosis, fragile bone, because their bone is not fragile. So as they tend to fracture, the bone tends to break easily.
Becomes fragile.
Yes, it becomes
Okay, so
fragile.
what's the role of spouses, kind of support, during and after the phase?
It's very, very important,
Yeah.
especially those spouses that are still with their female partner. It's very important for spouses. It is what we call educate yourself. Every partner must educate themselves about menopause as their wives ages. So as to when the woman is experiencing the symptoms, you should also say, yeah, I think this is menopause, so that she doesn't feel she's alone. Also, the communication is very important, especially when it comes to the mood swing. Women about mood swing, and the men out there or their spouses should not turn it onto themselves as their wives or their partners are experiencing throwing temper tantrums. They shouldn't be angry at that time. They should ask this question.
More love should be shown.
They should ask this question to them: that what can I do to help? To show care, so that they don't feel alone. Because, in fact, in the problems we're having in sub-Saharan Africa, especially Nigeria, there is not much of awareness about menopause. It is the truth. And we are there. We are out. We are there to
Women
help
must get
alleviate.
to that stage.
Yes, we must. We are here to alleviate their sufferings.
Okay.
Because we have seen couples, because we have so many options of management, including diets, nutrition, diets, medications, and so on and
Can
so
you
forth.
briefly tell us about the diet? What kind of diet should they, very briefly?
Okay. Well, when a woman comes with the features of menopause, after taking history, because most of the time we diagnose from history, but we can also diagnose from laboratory investigation, like very elevated, what we call follicle stimulating hormone and reduced estrogen level. Forget about
summary,
that. In
what kind of
summary,
diet?
yes. In summary, well, the diet should be healthy diet added with vitamin D supplement, calcium supplement, because of the bones.
Okay.
Because it helps to nourish the bones, to replenish the bone cells and all that. Then, of course, science, what's it called? Diets rich in soil.
Okay.
It has been proven.
Dr. Amina, I know you want to go on. You're really passionate about this. Well, thank you for educating us. Some of us were not there yet. We'll be prepared when we get there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Happy World Menopause Day.
Thank you very much. We've been actually discussing about the World Menopause Day. But let's turn to other issues. Law enforcement agencies have been urged to beam their searchlight on the activities of scrap metal dealers in order to checkmate the spate of vandalism of public infrastructure in the country. Guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria also request the law enforcers to bring to logical conclusion all ongoing investigations on vandalism with a view to serving justice on culprits. Let's hear more from Lydia Sampson.
than 30,000 rail track clips, which were removed along the Abuja-Kaduna line, are still being replaced at a huge financial cost to government. And only last week, 970 rail sleepers being conveyed to an unknown destination were impounded by security agents, but the vandals are still at large.
Are those people who do not see the values of these infrastructure in their own daily lives, and rather see it as a target of making money to improve their own livelihood. So I think that is the problem, the disconnect between those infrastructure and some group of citizens.
The management of the Nigerian Railway Corporation raises concern about inconclusive investigations and delay in justice delivery.
We have arrested not less than 200. If I say people, I mean different incidents occurring of vandalization.
The law enforcers, on their part, advocate an enabling law to keep track of activities of scrap metal dealers.
For instance, in the United Kingdom, they have what they call the Scrap Metal Dealers Act. What does this law do? This law essentially seeks to control and regulate trade in scrap metals.
Very soon, most of these things will be nipped in the bud because we have been able to identify some of the areas. We have seen people are taking some of those things. They go there to use it and melt them, turn them to billets, turn them to rods. And also even this manhole cover, I don't know, they still supply it into the market.
There was advocacy for deployment of technology and community engagement across the corridors of critical infrastructure, as well as increased orientation of citizens on safeguarding public infrastructure. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
All right, let's make a stop in Lagos as we join Adiola. She's going to pick up from there.
Thank you, Ruth. The 1.45 trillion naira allocated for the infrastructural growth of the country in the 2021 budget proposal is gaining commendations, especially as it will enable the federal government consolidate on its aggressive overhaul of decaying infrastructure across the country. Michael Olaleya reports.
As proposed before the National Assembly, security, infrastructure and education will grab a combined sum of 5.15 trillion naira out of the total budget for 2022. For the infrastructure sector, this represents 8.5% of the entire proposal, a development expert described as fair within the limits of available resources and the huge deficit gap that must be closed.
Today, we have improved significantly over the years when it comes to road network. And the earlier we begin to outsource the maintenance and management of this road network to private sector, the better for all of us. Because then, no matter how token, Nigerians should be made to be paying for some of these infrastructure.
While the budget will enable government to expand its rail master plan for the sake of increasing freight services and promoting multimodal system of transportation, the 120-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is a priority.
And infrastructure, just as you know, is very key to productivity. It's very important for job creation. It's very critical to economic diversification. It's critical to the generation of foreign exchange and the stabilization of the macroeconomic environment generally.
For the past 5 to 7 years, experts say the country has done well in terms of budget performance and implementation, but called for improved public-private partnership to reduce the infrastructure deficits.
If we can only double our tax to GDP ratio from 6.3 to even, 13%, that means we will be adding an additional 7 trillion to the budget.
A case for government to strengthen financial commitments on capital expenditure rather than recurrent was also highlighted. In Lagos, Michael Olaleya, NTA News.
Poverty eradication in Nigeria requires a multi-dimensional approach by all key players, especially as it is evident that there are emerging factors contending against efforts to overcome economic challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Amaka Owo had an interaction with some analysts in our reports.
Poverty is said to be a global problem, and for the United Nations, eradicating poverty provides a chance for people living in this condition to make their concerns heard and utilize their expertise to contribute towards its reduction. According to World Bank reports, COVID-19 pushed 150 million people into poverty, with majority found in South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa.
This poverty is the parent of crimes and revolutions. And what this simply means is that, be it insecurity, be it crime, be it insurgency, mentioned it. The bedrock of these issues is poverty.
The present administration focused on lifting about 10.5 million Nigerians out of poverty in the last 2 years through various social investment initiatives and the 2.3 trillion naira economic sustainability plan to cushion the effects of COVID-19. Experts reaffirmed the importance of other supportive measures.
The private sector has always been the driving force. There is no situation in which a government on its own has been able to keep the country afloat.
We can make power a state issue. Groups of states can get together. There's so many ways to produce power.
As government continues to strive to reduce poverty in the country, it is expected that its various programs and policies will counter the projection of poverty increase to 45% by 2022. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide and the network service of the NTA. We will take a break now, and when we return, it will be time for Mohammed in Maiduguri to give us stories from that zone.
Federal government, through NPHCDA, commenced Phase 2 vaccination of all persons 18 years and above with safe and effective COVID-19 vaccines approved by WHO and certified by NAFDAC. Special arrangement has been made for staff, their dependents and retirees of ministries, departments and agencies of government, private corporate organizations and non-governmental organizations. To benefit from this special arrangement, visit www.nphcda.gov.ng/corporate vaccination/ to obtain, fill and submit the Google form. NPHCDA will contact you within 48 hours. Protect yourself, your family and your workplace against COVID-19. COVID-19 vaccines are free, safe and effective. For further inquiries, call 0700-220-1122 or send a mail to covid19.vaccination@nphcda.gov.ng. This message is from the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency.
"2021 World Food Day and Nigeria's food value chain in perspective" on NTA Tuesday Live this week. Leaders and stakeholders on hand to brainstorm on issues of food security, agricultural development, potentials and matters arising. NTA Tuesday Live, incisive and educative. Join us.
When you think about hospitality and affordable luxury away from home, then you talk about Sharon Ultimate Hotels, a secured and serene environment that offers kingly services such as 24-hour room service, impeccable security with CCTV surveillance, parking lots, free Wi-Fi internet service, free complimentary breakfast, restaurants that offers continental and local dishes, well-equipped fitness center with instructors, swimming pool, 350 capacity multipurpose hall, laundry service, pastry corner, mini mart, and our suites are breathtaking. For reservation, locate us at plot 1710, Tafawa Balewa Way, Area 3, Garikia, Abuja. Sharon Ultimate Hotels, the ultimate place.
Viewers, you're welcome to Maiduguri. Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum has given 3 weeks ultimatum for staff of Umar Ibn Ibrahim Al-Kanemi College of Education, Science and Technology, Bama, to commence academic activities or risk transfers. The governor gave the ultimatum when he visited the institution as part of his official engagement in the area. Mohammed Goni reports.
Umar Ibn Ibrahim College of Education, Science and Technology, Bama, was completely burned down, along with other institutions of learning, when the town was overrun by the insurgents in 2014. Instructed the institution and directed relocation of the college to its permanent site, which was why Professor Zulum frowned at refusal by the students and lecturers to return, warning that his administration would not allow the institution to rot.
I've given you from now up to 1st November to relocate completely to this school. In order to do so, all the students should be transferred to Bokolis and College of Education due for them to go and complete their schools, while you shall be relocated to secondary schools in Borno State.
The governor also held meeting with the management and staff of the institution the following day, where he stressed the need for a harmonious working relationship among the principal officers and assured to address the challenges confronting the institution, such as security, water shortage, and electricity, as well as provision of learning equipment, among others. Governor Zulum later held separate meeting with Bama Local Government Council officials, comprising the chairman, councillors, as well as principal officers, management of local education authority, where issues related to administration, governance, security, and education, including number as well as quality of teachers and enrollment of pupils, among others, were discussed. The governor emphasized the need for staff, including the council chairman, councillors, and principal officers, to operate in Bama to entrench civil authority, and further stressed the need for unity of purpose among them. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
The need to re-enlighten Borno citizenry on defending their rights, especially in the wake of the insurgency, has again been stressed. These and many other issues form the basis of discussion at a one-day maiden Human Rights Summit organized by the Human Rights Committee of Nigerian Bar Association Borno State Branch in collaboration with National Human Rights Commission. Jedwajan Jasani reports.
The over a decade-long insurgency has given birth to several social vices which has stripped citizens in Borno of their human rights. This year's summit, with the theme appraising the promotion and protection of human rights in Borno during and after the insurgency, was aimed at educating citizens as well as the legal system on what to do, who to contact, and how to defend the infringement of rights of citizens. Chairman of the summit, Borno State Chief Judge Kashim Zanna, and Chairman Human Rights Committee of the NBA, Yahya Alaji Dunama, said the summit wouldn't have come at a better time than now, adding that all hands must be on deck, as defending the rights of the citizenry is a collective responsibility.
We're leveraging technology to make sure that these issues are resolved and human rights and criminal cases are prioritized.
Discussants have identified various areas of human rights violation, ranging from gender-based and domestic violence, police-civil relationship, land ownership and use, as well as international humanitarian laws, among others, noting that the citizens have the right to be informed.
If you hear it today, ensure that you educate the next person, your neighbor, to ensure that right violation is a no-go area, and if you do that, you are going to be punished for that.
Citizens, on their part, have been advised to get their facts right and follow the right channel in seeking redress, and desist from false claims and tarnishing the images of agencies and organizations. In Maiduguri, Jadwa John Jessini, NTA News.
That's all from this end. The rest of Nationwide will continue from the nation's capital, Abuja.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Welcome back. The Federal High Court, Abuja, has ordered the Nigeria Immigration Service to release the international passport of former governor of Rivers State, Peter Odili, seized by the service to him immediately. Justice Iyang Eko, who gave the order, described the seizure as a violation of the applicant's fundamental human rights. Olabode Arewa reports.
The atmosphere within the courtroom was lively as lawyers waited for the day's proceedings to commence. The Nigeria Immigration Service had confiscated the passport of former governor of Rivers State, Dr. Peter Odili, on the 20th of June 2021, following a letter from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission that his name was on the commission's watch list. The court, after listening to argument from both parties, held that the seizure was an infringement on Odili's rights as guaranteed by the Constitution. The court ordered the service to return the applicant's passport and as well tender a public apology to him. The court also restrained the Nigerian Immigration Service and its agents from harassing the former governor.
We are very pleased with the judgment. It represents, in our opinion, what the state of the law is.
The Nigerian Immigration Service was not represented at today's hearing. Dr. Odide's passport was seized in June upon his return from a foreign trip, having been under investigation by the EFCC on allegations of corruption. In Abuja, Olabodarewa, NTA News.
In order to ensure more efficient and speedy resolution of industrial disputes between employers and employees, the federal government has announced plans to upgrade the Industrial Arbitration Panel, which came into existence 40 years ago, into a permanent commission. A statement by Ministry of Labour and Employment says the Minister, Chris Ngige, said, as at today, the hierarchy of industrial dispute resolution starts from the ministry. If the people decide to come there to report, a tribunal can be put up or a board of inquiry if a strike has occurred. If the ministry cannot resolve the dispute, IAP will be approached. If they are not satisfied at the IAP, then they go up to the National Industrial Court of Nigeria. So, it is the same ladder stepwise formation for the normal disputes. If it is interpersonal, it is State High Court, Federal High Court, the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court. We're heading to Ibadan to join Larry. Let's find out what's happening there. Larry.
Welcome to Ibadan. A number of women have benefited from an empowerment program by the Kwara State government. Raliat Ibrahim reports that the gesture was to ensure inclusive growth for women.
Hundreds of tools, which include sewing machines, grinding machines, deep freezers, as well as cash, were some of the empowerment items donated to the women who were drawn from the 16 local government areas in the state. Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak said beneficiaries were selected based on a needs assessment previously conducted. He noted that the empowerment program aligns with his administration's efforts to drive inclusive growth, reduce poverty, and promote societal cohesion.
Every society is divided into strata, and each of them deserves to be taken care of within available resources. This is what we are committed to. We will not leave anyone behind.
The Special Assistant to Kwara State Governor on Women Empowerment, Haji Abolande Ismail, is optimistic that the tools will build more female entrepreneurs and bring them out of poverty. Raliat Ibrahim, NTA News.
Some contraband goods worth millions of naira have been seized by the Nigerian army from smugglers during Operation Still Waters in Ogun State.
Include 141 bags of imported rice to Ogun 1 Area Command of the Nigerian Customs Service, Brigade Commander 35 Artillery Brigade Alamala Abeokuta. Brigadier General Adewale Adekoya says the goods were seized from smugglers during the Army's Operation Stillwater in the state.
This exercise, though a field training exercise, dovetails to real-time operations to ensure that we deal with all insecurity situation in Ogun State, here where 35 Artillery Brigade lies as the main effort.
He said the exercise will continue until smuggling, kidnapping, banditry, armed robbery, and other criminal activities are stamped out in the state. The controller, Nigerian Customs Service Ogun 1 Area Command, Peter Kolo, represented by officer in charge of Uhumbi Outstation, commended 35 Artillery Brigade Alamala Abeokuta for the initiative.
The military has been very useful. At times, these people overwhelm us. But as soon as we call them, they always come to our aid.
The army also paraded 3 suspected cultists arrested at Shagamu. In Abeokuta, Yemi Dalimo, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. More reports with Sadia in Sokoto after this break. Stay with us.
The broadcast media ecosystem is dynamic and requires continuous training for practitioners to perform optimally. NTA TV College JOS invites relevant officers to the following specially packaged training programs. Archival Management System in the Broadcast Media, date 11th October to 29th October 2021, 3 weeks. Intermediate Presentation Techniques, date 11th October to 22nd October 2021, 2 weeks. Digital Satellite, Microwave, and RF Technologies, date 11th October to 15th October 2021, 1 week. Advanced Broadcast Accounting and Auditing, date 25th October to 5th November 2021, 2 weeks. Photojournalism and Photography, date 8th November to 26th November 2021, 3 weeks. Transmitter Operation and Maintenance, date 1st November to 5th November 2021, 1 week. The course fee for the 3-week course is 130,000 naira per participant, while the fee for the 2-week course and the 1-week engineering courses is 100,000 naira only per participant, accommodation inclusive. The venue for all courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA TV College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For more information, please call 0803-314-4383 or 0806-980-9807. NTA TV College Jos, training you to be the best you want to be.
For staying with us. Sultan of Sokoto Muhammad Saad Abubakar has challenged the Nigerian army to use their expertise in crushing bandits, describing the criminal act as a nuisance that is surmountable. The monarch threw his challenge when he received the chief of the army staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, on a courtesy visit at his palace. Sheikh Muhammad Detti completes the report.
Since his appointment as the Chief of the Army Staff on May 27, 2021, this is his first official visit to his country home. Receiving the Chief of the Army Staff, Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar described the current security situation as difficult, unlike the civil war. He expressed optimism that with prayers and expertise of the Nigerian Army, the issue of banditry and criminal acts will soon be history. The Sultan assured of Sultanate's total commitment and support in the fight against banditry. Sultan Muhammad Saad said, working together and with total loyalty, the fight against banditry will be a huge success.
Do your best to the best of your ability, while we urge our political leaders to equip you to the highest level, the most modern equipment, and then they will see the rest.
Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, informed the Sultan that he is at the palace to formally pay respect to the Sultan and seek for royal blessings, prayers, and guidance. General Farouk said it is usual for Chief of the Army Staff to visit army formations, see things for himself, and interact with his personnel. The Army Chief acknowledged the words of encouragement from the Sultan, assuring the Sultan that he will always refer to him for advice.
Since we're in service, you have helped and assisted and guided us and encouraged us also to put in our best, and we have always done that. I will also invite you every time for guidance, for prayers, and that you have also every time provided, even without asking.
He thanked the Sultan for the warm reception accorded him and his entourage. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Detti, NTA News.
Governor Abubakar Atiku Bagudu has called on ECOWAS and African Union leadership to vigorously generate support to harness the animal husbandry potential of West Africa in view of the immense economic fortunes accruing to the continent from the sector. Osman Abdullahi Shehu reports that the governor made the call at a high-level meeting which marked the end of the tripartite pastoralism week in Birnin Kebbi. The report.
The Pastoralism Week was the first of its kind in the country, organized by Kebbi State in collaboration with Alibori region of Republic of Benin and Dosa region of the neighboring Niger Republic. The week-long program availed the opportunity of the tripartite fraternity officials to brainstorm and proffer concrete solutions to the conflict management regarding the challenges of pastoralism in the Sahel region from a pragmatic, legal, and institutional perspectives. The Vice Chairman, National Food Security Committee, and the Kebbi State Governor, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, emphasized on the need to draw the attention of the world to the potentials in the animal husbandry sector of West Africa, stressing that the voices of the ECOWAS and the African Union leaders is strongly needed to mobilize more support to develop the sector.
Pastoralist community in West Africa are very hardworking. What they need is support from all of us so that that hard work will translate in better yield income for their families, for their communities, and indeed for our countries in West Africa.
In their separate remarks, the governor of Alibori region, Republic of Benin, Kesama Bello, the governor of Doso, Niger Republic, Alhaji Asumana Ahmadu, and the ECOWAS Commissioner of Agriculture and Water Resources, Sekou Sangari, commended the Nigerian leadership in the programs. The Deputy Executive Secretary, Permanent Interstate Committee on the Control of Drought in the Sahel, Dr. Paul Ouedraogo, described animal husbandry as an important resource to West Africa, saying that about $300 million is recently invested to develop the sector. Other participants expressed happiness over the recent commitment shown by the stakeholders to address the lingering challenges and boost pastoralism in West African region. Suman Abdullahi Shehu, NTA News.
And that's it from this end. It's now back to Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you, Sadia. Controversy has continued to trail the reported abduction of students of Federal University Lafia, as there are various accounts of the development. Let's hear more from Mary Damtu.
Given accounts of the incident, residents of Maraba community said they were woken up by sound of sporadic gunshots, after which it was discovered that 3 persons, including 1 student, have been abducted.
My cousin actually fell the victim. She was outside. Her friends came to visit her. Little after they kicked their car, they saw the kidnappers coming outside. And they came, then they surrounded their car and asked them to come out. Though they did not take her, but they took the 2 of her friends and a student, I think. Say they took a student too.
I can't even say, because the guys, I don't know whether they are students. Those guys that used to come around, I don't know whether they are students. But what she said, what I was hearing at that moment, that they took student too.
This is not the first time, this is not the second time, this is the 3rd time.
However, the public relations officer of the university countered the accounts of the residents that a student of the institution was involved in the incident.
No. There is no information at all, either from parents of any student or from the leaders of the students, that anybody was taken away. So we assume, and rightly so, that no student of Federal University of Lafia has been kidnapped.
Meanwhile, attempts to reach the police public relations officer of Nasarawa State Command for comments was not successful. In Lafia, Mary Replong Domtur, NTA News.
The National Commission for Persons with Disabilities is working with the academia to develop a curriculum for inclusive education in Nigeria. Salwal Khalil Ibrahim reports.
According to statistics, there are 31.5 million Nigerians living with disabilities. Many could not go to school due to their physical challenge, and those who are opportune go through a lot of hurdles.
I went to school in Nigeria as a visually impaired person, and I think a lot of people who are disabled in Nigeria are going through the school system. They are fighting so many factors. The first one is social attitude. A lot of people do not know about disability. There's a deficit of experts who can actually engage with persons with disabilities. And then, of course, there's funding, the financial part. It takes so much more in terms of expenses to train a child with disability through the school system.
This forum, therefore, is to enable experts in the education sector. Through the National Commission for Persons Living with Disabilities, brainstorm on how to come up with an all-inclusive curriculum to better the educational fortunes of persons living with disabilities.
The order from the President Muhammadu Buhari, when he said that he want the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities to make education attractive for persons with disabilities, this is the beginning. We are working with the Federal Ministry of Education to actualize this. The all federal government institutions and state institutions must be able to open their school for free for children with disabilities to gain admission.
This commission has now proposed to take disability education to all Nigerians in everywhere, at all level of education.
At the end of the meeting, it is expected that a draft of the curriculum will be sent to all the educational regulatory bodies for implementation. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
All right, let's bring you an update on COVID-19. 125 new cases of the virus was recorded in the country by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control as at 17th of October 2021. Available data shows that FCT recorded 45 cases, Kaduna 34, Rivers 11, Lagos and Osun had 10 cases each, Oyo 9, Jigawa, Edo and Kano has 2 cases each, while Plateau recorded a case. This brings the total number of confirmed cases to 209,298, with 197,143 persons treated and discharged, and death toll is put at 2,837. The Independent Investigation Panel on allegations of human rights violations by the defunct SAS, sitting at the National Human Rights Commission in Abuja, has resumed sitting with complaints seeking relief for extrajudicial killings and various acts of torture, inhuman and degrading treatment meted out on victims. Judiciary correspondent Vera Chowumba reports that 8 cases were heard by the panel.
Panel, which started last in March this year, had concluded 55 complaints, while 75 are at different stages of progress. The 11-member panel, chaired by Justice Suleiman Galadima, listened to final written and brief oral addresses by parties in 8 petitions, which were adjourned for the panel's report. In the case of alleged killing of Angela Igwetu, counsel for the commission, Chino Obiago, SAN, told the panel that Inspector Benjamin Peters, one of the respondents in the alleged murder of Angela Igwetu, is already being prosecuted by the police, and that has not been controverted. Respondent counsel Fidelis Ogobe, however, informed the panel that the matter for which a 250,000 naira compensation is being sought by the complainant is currently pending before the FCT High Court. Complainant counsel Wadundi Oko quickly reminded Ogobe that the panel is human rights sitting and not criminal proceedings on account of his submission. The case of late Daniel Agoro was adjourned due to absence of both complainant and the counsel, while police counsel was asked to file response in the case of late Ifeoma Abugu, a victim of alleged extrajudicial killing. In Abuja, Vera Chimoba, NTA News.
Nigeria and the United States of America are collaborating more on post-COVID-19 response in the areas of trade, defense, and strengthen the security sector. To this end, President Biden's high-level delegation are in Abuja, we hear, to deepen talks on many social and economic areas of bilateral cooperation. Osman Aliyu will tell us more.
Nigeria, a vital member of the Defeat ISIS coalition of the United States. That engagement and other partnerships make the U.S. government to hold Nigeria tight. The White House delegation, led by Jonathan Feiner, Deputy National Security Advisor of the United States, and other top U.S. government officials are here in Abuja to expand frontiers of diplomatic deals in many areas as the world recovers from the global pandemic.
Talked about the COVID situation, and in this context, the U.S. has been extremely generous and has just very recently, last week, provided again vaccines to Nigeria. I gave him an overview of the democratic process and election process here in Nigeria. We talked about good governance and corruption. We talked about the suspension of Twitter in Nigeria and the progress, how that is progressing.
There are no significant issues on our mutual agenda that can be addressed without working together, and so we are committed to continuing to do that. So thank you.
The engagement here is not all about long years of relations, but it explains significance of the two powerful nations in the global affairs. Usman Aliu, NTA News.
Right, let's find out what's happening in the sports world.
A new 13-member caretaker committee has been